why doesn't he make the effort? Even though that's the case, even though he doesn't have the access or as much
Mhm.
access, why doesn't he just make the effort of finding that well-to-do black woman?
Because the cult, like, there before, it used to be cultural places where you could do that. Let's say church.
I agree that a lot of brothers who move up in life and get the status to get the money, and they don't want to deal with the problems that a lot of black women might bring.
White men are out there saying the same thing about white women. They're saying that they can't wife them up. They're saying that they're not submissive. They're saying that they're
Yep.
feminists. They can't. They don't want to marry them.
I almost feel like it was a test case. And then once black women became that, you got the push on the general public. So now you have the general public believing in the same ideas, which is liberalism, that black women came into first. So essentially, they're turning into quote unquote black women. So this is where you have birth rates declining because people are not idealistically lining up anymore.
Are you saying that a well-to-do black man can't find a well-to-do black sister, or are you saying it's just because of access? Because he has more access to all these white women because he's obviously living a different lifestyle. So, why doesn't he make the effort? Even though that's the case, even though he doesn't have the access or as much access, why doesn't he just make the effort of finding that well-to-do black woman?
Because the cult, like, there before, it used to be cultural places where you could do that. Let's say church. Black families used to just do church. I'm 40 years old, so I can remember a time when church was a real thing, like body, mind, and spirit. Like, I'm talking about church folk, but you don't have that anymore. So what happens is, even like, I've dated man, she's from a very nice neighborhood. She works at a hedge fund. She's making 200K a year. But what she does is she goes to the urban areas because she knows she can take advantage of those type of black men. It's the same thing. And then, like, people like me, I match what she makes. But the difference is I believe in family order. And a lot of black women just don't believe in that anymore. They want to take lead or be considered equal or a partner, but they don't understand culturally what the essence of a marriage is. The man should lead for a good reason. You don't see the world as he does. So what happens is those well-to-do black women, they see those well-to-do men as wrong. So they would rather deal with a bad right than a good quote unquote wrong to them.
Can I make a
And
quick point though? Because some of these white men are out there saying the same thing about white women. They're saying that they can't wife them up. They're saying that they're not submissive. They're saying that they're
yep,
feminists. They can't. They don't want to marry them. They don't value
yeah,
marriage. And so
Yeah,
white
yes,
men are saying the same thing
you,
about white women.
yeah,
So where
so
is
they
this
go to
idea
they
that
go to the Philippines and
yeah,
bag
I don't know
some.
whether this idea that white women are like better than black women when it comes to this submissive thing? Because
well, no,
even white men say that they don't want to deal with their own women.
yeah, but I don't think you understand what's going on. Like, there's a purposeful media effort to change the thinking of how women think about relationships. So it was originally pushed on black women. Originally, like
So
the
what you
great,
basically, so what you basically say, Mighty Walk, it comes down to values. It comes down to moral values. So if you don't share my values, how am I going to get with you? You need to share my values. This is what I was saying earlier when I mentioned equally yoked. One has to be equally yoked. This is what we as Christians believe. Before you get married to a woman, you have to be equally yoked with that woman. That woman has to also be a Christian. She also has to share your values. So what we are seeing in society, when we look at the different classes, working class, when we look at middle class, upper class, what you're saying is that because the people at the bottom don't share the values of the people in middle class, upper class, that's the reason why the people in middle class won't mix with the people in the lower class. And you're saying all of this is purely just to do with with values. It's all to do with values. So it's not that the black man doesn't necessarily want the black woman. It's just that when he moves up, culturally speaking, and is
Mhm.
due to the values that he managed to accept. So for example, if you live according to the right values, you're more likely to do well in life. Of course, that's not I'm not saying that all people do not have the right value, but it,
but but they
they're
don't.
less
But they
likely.
don't.
Okay, they're less likely to have, especially today. But what I'm
Right.
saying is, so when they get to that middle class, they don't want to mix with people that don't share those values, and because there's not enough black women to go around in that, and they have more access to white women. That's the reason why they marry white women.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
guys? Do you guys?
Yes.
Do you guys agree with this? I actually, my walk. I'm simple. I can see where you're coming from. Trust me, I can see where you're coming from. Elijah, do you agree with this?
Yeah,
Then I want to hear from JM. Do you agree with this?
yeah, I agree. I agree that a lot of brothers who move up in life and get the status to get the money, and they don't want to deal with the problems that a lot of black women might bring. And not all black women are like that, but maybe they haven't met that black woman. They looking for that black woman, but they keep meeting that one. They keep meeting the one to give them troubles. So yeah, I understand. Like they might not necessarily just turn to white. They might turn to Asian. They might turn to Latino. You know what I'm saying? It's like they just turn to something else. Because for whatever reason, a lot of other women and a lot of other cultures just tend to be a lot more submissive and subservient and just fall in line with what the man wants to do. Um, yeah, it's difficult for a lot of black women who grew up in the Western world, to fall in line to understand a man like that because they didn't grow up in the house with a man. They grew up in the house with a bitter woman, a bitter wife, a bitter mom who, expressed her pain towards men. And so all that rubbed off on them and they get with men and they don't know a good man or how to be submissive or anything about being a woman to a man. And a lot of black women are like that, as a result of growing up in single parent homes, as a result of not having a father there, not seeing and they having an example of what a man really is or what a man should be doing, how a man should protect, what I'm saying, how a man should provide. Um, they don't understand what it is to be in position to receive that. And so, it's unfortunate.
JM, go ahead.
Again, I can't speak for the US, but I tell you this: over here, all these black guys that get with these white women, in about a couple of years, the divorce hits them, and that white woman takes that man's money and moves on into the sunshine. This idea that these white women are here submissive and they're smart. I tell you that they're smarter than a lot of black women because they get with a successful brother, give him a couple of years, and they divorce the brother, and they take his half of his money with him. So that's something some of these brothers need to keep in mind. Yeah, okay, maybe tough to get the black girl they're submissive and blah blah blah. Some of these white women are playing games and tricks on these brothers where they present themselves a certain way. They know they're clever. They know they know the issue that with the black community, and they know how some brothers are very suspicious of black women. So they play on that. They get in their faces, marry the brother, and then a couple of years after, how many times have you seen that Nelson over here with some of these football players? These
Loads,
white women are the white women
loads.
here on the white women on TV here making their own shows. 4, 5, 6 of them, all exes of black football players living in mansions.